Stick Figure Theatre proudly presents a vintage toy. Vintage is another name for anything that's older than 20 years, by the way. And if you think about it, most of the people around you right now would be considered vintage. Only a select few make it to the antique stage, which is over 100 years old. Anyway, I digress. This is Superhero, the amazing, super stretching Stretch Armstrong. Stretch was an action figure that came out in 1976 by Kenner Toys. In 1990, Cap Toys gave him a makeover. They gave him a cool tank top, made his shorts a little bit longer, changed their color, and updated his face to something more yikes. But I kind of like the original, if you ask me. In fact, some say that this toy was actually filled with toxic waste that allowed him to keep his shape for a short time before going back to his original shape. But Stretch Armstrong would stretch and stretch and stretch. You could tie him in a knot even, which was pretty cool. You could even tie him up like a pretzel. It reminds me of salt and mustard. Oh, maybe dipping it into some cheese sauce. Anyway, but he would always return to his original shape. You know, sometimes in life we may feel like we're being stretched and pulled in all sorts of directions. Running over here and taking care of this and then turning around and trying to do that over there. And just when you think that things are back to normal, you know, all of a sudden you get hit with something else. Just seems like out of nowhere, out of the blue. In fact, in our reading for today, we hear about the miracle of Jesus feeding the 5,000, where Jesus took 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish and all were filled. Burp. But we often don't see the beginning of the story. That Jesus and his disciples, well, they were tired. They were teaching, healing the crowds, and they went off to get some much needed rest. Really, they needed a spiritual time out and to take a nap. But before they could, the crowds came knocking. Knock, knock. Who's there? Hatch. Hatch who? Well, God bless you. But in this moment, Jesus responds to their needs in love and grace. You see, while it's important to care for ourselves, to get sleep and rest, we also know the reality that the work and the expectations of life don't poof, all of a sudden go away or magically disappear. There's still laundry to do, rooms to clean, mouths to feed, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on and on. You get the picture. So the question is, how do we renew our spirits while caring for those that God has placed in our care? Well, it's about leaning into God and understanding that our work is done to his glory. Colossians chapter 3, verse 23 shares this. Whatever your task, put yourselves into it as done for the Lord and not for your masters. And masters can come in all shapes and sizes. And I got to tell you, these are the most dangerous of all. Especially when you have twins. But it goes on to say, you serve the Lord Christ. Well, think about it. When we're vacuuming or dusting, cleaning our rooms, we're serving Christ. When we're scheduling doctor's appointments, oil changes, which turn out to be $1,500 in repairs, we're serving Christ. Answering emails, serving Christ. Running kids to practice, serving Christ. Taking out the trash, serving Christ. Dealing with one more thing, you guessed it, serving Christ. So the next time you're feeling stressed and a little bit tired and maybe stretched a bit too thin, what would it mean to respond to those needs in grace and love with the heart of Jesus? To thank God for what he's given you. To lean into God's word and his promised provision, and that your work of serving others is really serving Christ. If you think about it, it's not too much of a stretch. The end.